My name is Emilio. I am a senior. I'm majoring in data science. I'm minoring in math. I worked with IIC during my sophomore and junior years on a year-long project related to integrating deep learning into the monitoring procedure for sandhill cranes, a migratory bird. And I worked with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service.
My name is Grace Stowe. I'm currently a senior double majoring in biology and integrative conservation. So last year I worked on a year-long project with a conservation research program, what we called the Oyster Aquaculture Project, or I think it was Project L if you had the letter, but the Oyster Aquaculture Business Modeling Project. So my job basically was to work with our partner, Bay McLaughlin at First Landing Seafood, to help create a business plan that looked to expand his aquaculture practice but in a sustainable way.
Fish and Wildlife Service is interested because it's a game bird, so they're kind of trying to make sure that the crane population is remaining stable because they are hunted. And so they run this yearly survey, and it kind of has a very high labor cost, requires these low altitude flights, and kind of unwieldy flock estimation procedures, which generates kind of some variabilities in the yearly indices that Fish and Wildlife Service is pretty concerned about. So the idea is, let's transition to a nocturnal survey, so during the night rather than during the day, and that kind of addresses some of the issues that they're concerned with survey variability. And then also, so we're transitioning to nighttime surveys. Let's use thermal imagery and let's use deep learning to automatically count the cranes captured in the imagery.
So my deliverable is what we call a business model canvas. So a business model canvas is basically an outline of a business. And I worked with Professor Graham Henshaw with the Entrepreneurship Center here to kind of figure out what a business model canvas was, and as well as how to apply it to this specific situation. So it's kind of this map that outlined what the business was, who the business was serving, and what the business needed to function. And that, along with a couple other deliverables, including some statistical analysis on some surveys, is what I was able to bring to Bay at the end of this project.
Yeah, well, my background in conservation was pretty sparse before the project. So it was a lot of learning. Like the first 4 months, the first full semester probably of the project was just like getting caught up and understanding what the words were, understanding how to communicate. Like I'm coming from the data science perspective, but I was working with conservation biologists and pilots and remote sensing specialists and geographers. So it was like a lot of different disciplines coming together.
I think one of the most important things throughout this project for me was communication. And that's like a very broad term, so I guess it's a cop-out of my answer because I communicated with, I feel like, a lot of people throughout this project. So making sure I was communicating really clearly with my research advisors and the professors I was working with, but also my partner, to make sure that we were all on the same page about things, just for a general project management standpoint, but also making sure I was communicating with my community to ensure that I was creating a product that was useful to them, and to make sure that I was creating something that my partner in particular would find useful but also workable within his environment.
Well, so I'm going to graduate school for environmental data science, and part of that is just like completely motivated by this project. So it's like I did this project, it was awesome, I really want to do more like this. I think part of like one of the hallmarks of environmental data science, especially in conservation, is that it is like a very multidisciplinary field. And so going off into the future, I'm sure I'm going to really find it really valuable to have had that early exposure to these broad collaborations.
Yeah, this definitely was this is a big thing for me career-wise and academic-wise. I think the CRP is unlike any other research program in the sense that you are really given the opportunity to focus on a real-world conservation solution and be the head of a project that is the head of the project working to complete these goals and working towards these goals. So it's been such an integral experience to teach me how to properly project manage, to be able to work with communities, and to work on real world solutions. I think it's been super important to me in understanding what I'm capable of as a student and moving forward into what I may be comfortable doing in the workforce.